Stop scrolling. Jobless spike. What God thinks about jobs, economy, and human worth. This one number just shocked millions of Americans. Jobless claims jumped by 44,000 in a single week, the biggest surge in years. Watch till the end. People are asking, are jobs disappearing? Is the economy cracking? But there's a deeper question most news anchors aren't asking. What would God say about unemployment, human struggle, and how we value work? What God thinks about jobless numbers? Here's the news in simple language. This week, the U.S. Department of Labor reported jobless claims spiked to 236,000, up 44,000 from the week before. That is the largest single increase in about 4.5 years. Economists say part of the jump comes from seasonal adjustment issues after Thanksgiving, meaning the figures may look worse than the real trend. Still, this pushed some alarm buttons because the labor market is showing signs of slowing down. There were also layoffs announced by big companies like Amazon and fewer new jobs being reported. But there's a twist. The 4-week average, a more reliable indicator, only ticked up slightly, suggesting things may not be as bad as the headline number sounds. So here's the core tension. One number looks alarming. The broader trend feels mixed. And millions of real people are watching their world wobble. 236,000 claims, biggest weekly jump in years, seasonal factors matter. Jewish perspective. In Jewish teaching, work and dignity go hand in hand, and God cares deeply about justice for workers. You shall not oppress a hired servant who is poor and needy. Deuteronomy 24:14-15. The Lord lifts up the needy. Psalm 146:7. Reflection. These verses show that God doesn't see workers as numbers. When people lose jobs or struggle for income, God's heart is moved. He commands fairness, timely wages, and dignity for workers. So from this viewpoint, a labor market that suddenly spikes in jobless claims isn't just economic noise. It's a signal to care for the vulnerable and to seek justice that protects human dignity. Christian perspective. Christian scripture also emphasizes human worth, work, and compassion. If anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat. 2 Thessalonians 3:10. Bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6:2. Reflection. These verses aren't about punishment. They're about community. Work matters. It builds self-worth and purpose. But when jobless claims rise, Christians are called not to blame the unemployed, but to bear their burdens. God cares about making a way for people to thrive, not just survive. Islamic perspective. In Islam, work, provision, and fairness are deeply connected, and God reminds people to provide for others. Righteousness is not that you turn your faces toward the east or the west, but true righteousness is and one who believes in Allah, the last day, and gives wealth, in spite of love for it, to relatives, orphans, the needy. Quran 2:177-178. O you who believe, let no one among you say to another, go away. Quran 49:11. Reflection. These verses teach us that every human life matters. When people lose jobs, it's not just an economic number. It's someone's family, dignity, and everyday story. God commands kindness, protection, and care for each other so that no one is pushed aside or forgotten. Now listen to this. Across Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, there's a powerful unified message about work and human worth. 1. Work is more than a number. It gives purpose and dignity. 2. When people struggle, God cares deeply. Not just about market stats, but about people's lives. 3. We are called to help one another. Not to shame, not to judge, but to uplift. All three traditions see joblessness as more than economics. They see it as a human reality that calls for compassion, justice, and shared responsibility. So here's a question to hold with you. When claims go up, Whose story is behind that number? Is it just data? Or is it real people, real families, real dreams? We started with a shocking number, jobless claims soaring. But we end with something deeper. God doesn't see jobless figures. He sees people. He hears the prayers of the anxious. He sees the nights of self-doubt. He feels the weight of every unanswered application. So here's your takeaway. Compassion is not optional. Where there's struggle, there is human dignity. Where there's uncertainty, love matters more than ever. Call to reflection. Think about this. Who in your life needs compassion today? What small act could you do to help someone rebuild purpose? Drop dignity in the comments if you believe every person deserves worth. Like and share if you stand with community, justice, and human care.